Good morning, developers. If you are new to the channel, my name is Rob, and today is JavaScript Tuesday, and we're going to talk about callbacks. This video is born out of a couple others. Some people have said, hey, go back a couple steps. I will drop relevant links and playlists in the description if you want to go a little bit deeper. But what is a callback? I was in JavaScript for years before I finally wrangled with the concept, and all of a sudden the lights came on. So if you don't know, do not feel bad. At least don't feel bad because of me. If you are new-ish to JavaScript, or even if you are old, you will become very familiar with this, right? What is that? That is an anonymous function. What is an anonymous function? Well, hopefully you know what a function is because we're not going to cover that here. An anonymous function is just a function that has no name. It's anonymous. It can't be called the normal way. What does that mean? Well, you think about it like this. If we had a function, I'm going to do HW for hello world. And inside here, we have our console.log, and I'm abbreviating here. This is pseudocode, but we've got in here hello world. And down below, if we wanted to run this, we would do it like that, right? Because it's not anonymous, we can call it the normal way we invoke functions. This thing over here, it doesn't have a name, and you could use the word function here, so don't let that intimidate you. This is just another way to write a function. But you might be thinking, why would you ever do this if it doesn't have a name and you can't invoke it? You can invoke it, you just don't invoke it like this. How so? Well, take a step back. JavaScript is an event-driven language. I would go so far as to say that is absolutely the heart of JavaScript. The event loop is what makes JavaScript in my opinion. And I've got a video on the event loop. If you're not familiar with how it works, that may be one of the most useful and helpful videos you ever watch that explaining what's going on under the hood. But JavaScript being an event-driven language means a lot of the code that you write when the program first runs, right? When the browser opens up or when your Node.js program runs, most of the code probably isn't even going to run because it's inside of one of these, right? Not necessarily inside of a function, but it's inside of one of these. What does that mean? Well, what is JavaScript doing after it runs? It's usually waiting. Waiting for what? Waiting for an event. Waiting for the user to click, right? The user needs to do something and then this will happen. The user needs to submit, right? Submit a form or something and then that will run. We have maybe a fetch. Like you're going out to an API or a backend, something like that, getting some data, right? Again, the code we want to run doesn't happen until this thing actually occurs. If you're in Node.js, it may be you're opening a file to write to it. Maybe it's a database request, something like that. So JavaScript is sitting around waiting to do all of the stuff that happens inside of the events. This stuff, right? This is what we put in there. Well, what's the connection here? Something very important to know about JavaScript functions is that they are first-class objects. What is a first-class object? Well, it just means a bunch of stuff that you already know. You can assign it to a variable. You can return it from a function. You can pass it to another function as an argument. Functions have properties and values. All objects behave that way, and functions are no different because they are first-class objects. Why does this matter? With a clean board here, let's say we have something called L. L is a button that we've stored in this variable. Okay, we did document.getElement by ID or whatever, and we put it inside of L. And we have add event listener. I'm not going to spell out the whole thing. What's the first thing that we pass this? The event we want to listen for. So we put in here click. Okay. What's the second thing we pass it? The second thing is the code we want to run when that happens. So we have something that looks like this, and then we close it off. Our event listener, what type of event listener is it? Well, here's the event, right? JavaScript is event-driven. What do we pass it? We pass it an anonymous function, and our code runs inside here. Because this is a first-class object, right? Like all functions, it's going to get actually stored in the heap. It's going to wait there until the web API says, hey, JavaScript, I got something for you to do. This thing happened. It will call back your code, your anonymous function, and it will run that code. That is what a callback is. It's just some code that you wrote. You can give it a name if you want to, but it's going to be passed to another function or to the web API, however you want to look at it, and it's going to be run later whenever that event happens. That is what a callback is. I will follow this video up. We'll go a little bit deeper, but thanks so much for watching. I will see you next time.